Okay, let's take a look at when we're multiplying variables and like in algebraic expressions, etc. Now, these examples might look very extreme to you. Maybe you're like, how do I do this? It looks so complicated, especially if you walk into a class, maybe you're in year 6 and 7 and you walk into a high school IGCSE class or like advanced math or well, and then you see these expressions and you're like, whoa, I have no idea what this means. But it's very straightforward. I know it doesn't look like it, but you kind of just do one step at a time. So let's take a look, take a look, not, yeah, let's just try and speak English well. So let's take a look at the first example. So the rule of thumb is usually try and do one thing at a time. So in this case, everything's positive, so I don't really have to worry about positive and negative numbers being multiplied. But I'll start off with the 4 and the 2, and 4 times 2 would be 8. So I just write an 8 with a marker that works, hopefully. So I can write an 8. And then x times y, that would just be xy. And that's it. So nothing weird there. I just looked at the numbers, I multiplied them, and the variables, I kind of just added them just next to each other. In this case, looks a little bit more extreme, more terms, kind of, well, they're not really terms. They look like 3 terms, but it's all multiplication, so it's basically just one big term, just split up. But we can do the numbers first, so I'm going to multiply 2 times 3 times 2. So 2 times 3 is 6, and that 6 times 2 is going to be 12. Or 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. Order doesn't really matter as long as I just multiply all of them together. And next I'm going to see, okay, they are x squared. So there's 2 x's being multiplied. That's a y, so can't really, and here's another x. Now, if I was adding, I wouldn't be able to add x squared to x. So if I had something like x squared plus x, can't do anything. But if I'm multiplying them, I can shorthand write it and say, well, how many x's are being multiplied? Well, there's 2 multiplied by another 1. So in total, there are actually 3. And that's what's happening here. I have x squared times x, and that's going to be x cubed. Later we'll look at more advanced examples, but kind of just get the idea that we treat all the x's the same. And next we're going to go to the y's. There's no y here, but there's a y here and a y here. So basically there's 2 y's being multiplied. So instead of me writing y times y, that just doesn't look nice, we can shorthand write it in an easier way and just write y squared. And this is just telling me that 12 is multiplied by a number that's multiplied by itself 3 times and multiplied by another number that is multiplied by itself 2 times. Okay, let's look at the last one. Again, just looking at the numbers, 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18. And then I see there's an A and an A and an A being multiplied. So that would be A, there's 3 of them, cubed. Usually we want to try and go alphabetical order. As you can see here, I did X before Y because X is before Y in the alphabet. So I went with A first because A is kind of first in the alphabet. Next, we're looking at B's. So there's B squared. So there's 2 of them there. There's another 1 here, and there's another 1 here. So in total, we have 2, 3, 4 B's. So B to the power of 4. And then lastly, C's, there's only 1, so I just kind of add the 1. So yeah, I mean, it looks really intense. And I know when you look at this, you might think like, is this the answer? That doesn't look nice. I like answers like 5 and 10 and, I don't know, 12.4. I can even live with decimals. But what on earth does this mean? This is just kind of, it's an expression saying that there is this represents a number and I can have certain values. So later you will do something like substitution and we'll tell you, hey, A is, let's say 2 and B is 3 and C is 4. And when you have this information, you can actually work out or simplify this and you'll say, okay, well, the 18 is there and that's going to be multiplied by A is, I don't want to go too intense, but it's going to be A is 2 and the 2 is multiplied by itself 3 times. You can maybe write that. And then we're multiplying by another number, which is 3. Obviously, we won't write it like this. I'm just trying to make it look nicer. But now, the more I'm writing, the more like the worse it looks. But basically, I'm saying there's a number 18 and it's multiplied by a certain number a, and in that case, it's 2, and it's multiplied by itself 3 times, and it's multiplied again by another number b that's multiplied by itself 4 times, and in the end multiplied by c, which is 4. So yes, this doesn't look like an answer, and that doesn't look like an answer, but you're going to have to get kind of used to this. These are answers, and then later, if we maybe find variables or values for the variables, we can put that in and we can work it out, and we can maybe put this in our calculator and we can get a very extravagant number, like, I don't even know what it's going to be by, let's say 15,000, blah, 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 and it's going to be a nice number. But for now, this is fine. We don't have to worry about the A, the B, and the C. They are just kind of representing numbers.